In the kingdom of Eldoria, there lived a princess named Seraphina, known throughout the land for her beauty and wisdom. Her long, golden hair flowed like silk, and her emerald green eyes sparkled with intelligence. Seraphina was loved by her people, admired by the courtiers, and sought after by many noble suitors. However, she had a secret that no one in the kingdom could ever know, a secret love. Seraphina's father, King Alistair, was a stern ruler who believed in maintaining the purity of the royal bloodline. He had arranged countless meetings with princes and dukes from neighboring kingdoms, hoping to find the perfect match for his daughter. Yet none of these men stirred Seraphina's heart. Her mind was always elsewhere, on someone who could never be her match in the eyes of the kingdom. That someone was a stable boy named Lucas. Lucas had worked in the royal stables since he was a young boy, taking care of the horses and tending to the grounds. He was strong, kind, and had a gentle way with animals that made him beloved by all the creatures of the palace. To Seraphina, he was more than just a stable boy, he was the only person who saw her for who she truly was, not just as a princess but as Seraphina, a woman with dreams and desires of her own. Their love had blossomed in secret, beginning with stolen glances across the courtyard and small conversations hidden behind the tall hedges of the royal gardens. Seraphina would often sneak away from her duties, disguising herself as a servant girl, to meet Lucas in the quietest corners of the palace grounds. There, beneath the shade of the old oak tree, they would talk for hours about their dreams of freedom, of a life where love wasn't dictated by titles and crowns. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in soft hues of pink and purple, Seraphina met Lucas at their secret spot. She wore a simple cloak, her royal robes hidden beneath it, and her heart pounded in her chest as she approached him. He was waiting for her, as always, his eyes lighting up the moment he saw her. "Seraphina," Lucas whispered as he took her hand. "One day, we won't have to hide like this. I promise." She smiled, though her heart ached. "I want to believe that, Lucas. But what if my father finds out? He will never allow us to be together." Lucas squeezed her hand, his calloused fingers rubbed against her soft skin. "Then we'll run away. We'll leave the kingdom, find a place where no one knows us, and start a new life. Just you and me." Seraphina's heart leapt at the thought, but fear quickly followed. She loved Lucas more than anything, but leaving her family, her people, and the only life she had ever known was a terrifying prospect. Still, the idea of a life with him, free from the confines of royalty, was a dream she couldn't let go of. As they sat together, watching the stars begin to twinkle in the night sky, they made a plan. In 1 week's time, when the full moon rose, they would leave Eldoria behind. Lucas had saved enough money over the years to buy passage on a ship that would take them to a distant land, far from the reach of the king. Seraphina would take only what she could carry, leaving behind the trappings of royalty to start a new life with the man she loved. The days passed in a blur for Seraphina. She went through the motions of her royal duties, but her mind was always on the night to come. She secretly gathered what she needed, careful not to arouse suspicion. Each day felt like a lifetime, the anticipation and fear gnawing at her. She longed for the night of their escape, yet dreaded what it might cost her. Finally, the night of the full moon arrived. The palace was quiet as Seraphina slipped out of her chambers, her heart pounding in her chest. She moved silently through the corridors, her cloak wrapped tightly around her. When she reached the stables, Lucas was waiting for her, his horse ready and a look of determination in his eyes. They exchanged no words, only a knowing glance as Seraphina mounted the horse behind him. Together, they rode through the darkened forest, the sounds of the night their only company. The plan was simple: reach the docks by morning and board the ship that would take them to freedom. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. As they neared the edge of the forest, the sound of hooves echoed behind them. Seraphina's heart sank as she realized they were being followed. The king's soldiers, no doubt sent to bring her back. She clung to Lucas as he urged the horse to go faster, but it was no use. The soldiers were gaining on them. Suddenly, the horse stumbled, and Seraphina and Lucas were thrown to the ground. Dazed, Seraphina looked up to see the soldiers surrounding them, their swords drawn. Lucas stood protectively in front of her, his eyes blazing with defiance. "Step away from the princess," one of the soldiers commanded, his voice cold and authoritative. Lucas didn't move. "I won't let you take her." The soldier stepped forward, raising his sword. But before he could strike, Seraphina stood, her voice firm and commanding. "Stop. I am the Princess of Eldoria, and I command you to leave us." The soldiers hesitated, unsure of what to do. Seraphina's royal authority held weight, but their orders were clear. The leader of the group lowered his sword slightly, his gaze shifting between the princess and the stable boy. "Your Highness," he said carefully, "your father sent us to bring you back. He is worried for your safety." Seraphina straightened, her heart pounding in her chest. "I am safe. I am with the man I love. If you have any loyalty to your kingdom, you will let us go." The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances, but their leader stood firm. "We cannot do that, your Highness. Please, come with us peacefully." Seraphina's eyes filled with tears as she looked at Lucas, who met her gaze with a look of helplessness. She knew then that their dream of escape was over. There was no outrunning her father's reach, no escaping the life that had been laid out for her since birth. With a heavy heart, Seraphina nodded. "Very well. I will go with you." The soldiers relaxed, but Lucas protested. "Seraphina, no. We can still." She placed a gentle hand on his arm, silencing him. "It's over, Lucas. We can't fight them. I won't let you get hurt because of me." Tears filled his eyes as he reached for her, but the soldiers pulled them apart. Seraphina was led away, her heart breaking with every step she took. She glanced back one last time at the man she loved, his face etched with pain and sorrow, before the soldiers guided her back toward the palace. The return to the castle was a blur for Seraphina. She was greeted with relief by her father, but she felt nothing. Her heart was left behind in the forest, with the stable boy who had shown her what it meant to truly be alive. In the days that followed, Seraphina withdrew into herself. She went through the motions of her duties, but the light in her eyes had dimmed. The king, though concerned, assumed it was merely the result of a youthful rebellion and soon resumed his efforts to find her a suitable match. But Seraphina's heart belonged to Lucas, even if they could never be together. She carried the memory of their love like a secret treasure, hidden deep within her, where no one could ever take it away. And though they were separated by the walls of the palace and the expectations of the kingdom, Seraphina knew that their love would endure, even if it could never be spoken aloud.